I've heard a lot of people talking recently, but when I say recently I mean the past couple of years, about how there's a lot of magic stuff happening nowadays, much more so than in the past. It feels like there's a new product coming out almost every month, sometimes even more, sometimes a little bit less, averages out to a lot more than we used to see in the past. But if you look at it closely, we've actually reached a point where we are almost hitting infinite magic. If you look in terms not just of release schedule, but event schedule, take a look at Bloomborough. Bloomborough came out. You have the Bloomborough pre-release, you have the Bloomborough release weekend, you have Bloomborough Commander Party, Bloomborough Store Championship, holiday weekends, just so everyone can have a little bit of a break, Bloomborough Commander Party again, then you have Bloomborough Open House, and then you have Duskborn. We've reached a point where between one Magic set and another Magic set, there's almost no week that doesn't have some kind of special Magic event or product or release or gimmick event going on. It's the sort of thing where you can create maximum saturation for specific Magic events without even having to release more products in between, you know? You could call the Store Championship, that's not a product, but it's an attraction. Something like Commander Party that has specific gimmick rules and materials associated, that is a unique product. It's just a product that you can only experience for 1 or 2 days out of the season, which is an incentive to come in. What's the result of this? On one hand, it's a good thing. I can say, when you're looking at a specific format, people will generally, and this is just in my experience, have a higher turnout for specific Wizards promoted branded events than generic events of the same type. It doesn't necessarily cross for events of different types, but if we're talking about something like Commander, we'll often see a slightly higher turnout for Commander Party than for regular Commander. We won't necessarily see a higher turnout for Standard Store Championship than Commander, but we might see a higher turnout for Standard Store Championship than regular Standard. So it's something where there's an incentive. I think that the thing that you really need to consider is that it does eat into scheduling for events that aren't part of that standard Commander limited framework. If you have a specific day of the week, like let's say a Friday or a Saturday, I mean Friday's usually Friday Night Magic, but let's say a Saturday, that's a good weekend day, a lot of people come out. If you want to do modern events, like a weekly modern event every Saturday, but Saturday is also the day that you get the most foot traffic and there are always special events to schedule on that day, you do have multiple events bumping into each other, so it does create a little bit less room for diversity and requires a little bit more caution in planning. And I think there's another benefit for Wizards, and they haven't said anything, but I suspect the more that you have Magic-specific branded events, the less room you have for specific events or non-specific events of other games. Generally, the way that we approach things here, and I'm sure everyone else does it differently, or different people do it the way that they see fit, we will prioritize specific one-time events or seasonal events over weekly events. So if there's a store championship, and that's a big deal and people are excited about that, and we don't have room to run that alongside our regular events, we might postpone our regular events, adjust the time in order to make room for it. The more branded events you have, the less room there is for non-branded events, and especially if Magic is the one that's having all of the branded events, it's kind of the other games that are going to have to get the shaft. If you're looking at something like Standard, Store Championship might take the place of Standard, you're still getting Magic players. If Store Championship for Magic has to take the place of, I don't know, the Flesh and Blood Premier Cup, just naming a game that we don't currently have much for, if you have to choose, which one are you going to choose? We've managed to create a bit of a balance just because we do have additional space on our 3rd floor. We've actually expanded partly in order to be able to accommodate all of the new events that all of these games are putting out. Magic is the most obvious one here, but we're reaching a point where rather than having a store-programmed weekly schedule for events with a couple of special things here and there throughout the year, you're almost seeing, when you put all of these companies together, a schedule of company-branded specific events almost every week, if not more so. I think here at Montasy NYC, we have, just in the month of September, multiple pre-release events every weekend if you go across games. So it's an exciting time, it's a busy time. Magic players have talked for a while now about Magic fatigue. I don't know, maybe we're just building up more Magic stamina. Only one way to find out.